Rev up your engines!
Well, I tell you, I'm not a big fan of Korean cars. They fall apart. They're not made out of it. Well, maybe this is one of the reasons. They found out that the Hyundai Kia factories in Alabama, they're using child labor. Maybe if they had adults build them, the cars wouldn't be so poorly made, They even found a 12-year-old was working in one of them. The problem is everybody's trying to cut costs, and these people are supplying parts to Hyundai and Kia there. They got kids building parts for their cars now. There was also a 14-year-old that they found. And, this is the stuff that they find. You can imagine what's actually going on. What do they always say? If a criminal is found doing something, there's probably another 500 or 1,000 guys doing the same thing, and they haven't gotten caught yet. And it's not just one place. It's a bunch of places. iGen Industrial, which makes parts for Hyundai and Kia in Alabama, and they're in Alabama. A production engineer said that he knew of at least 10 miners that were working in that factory making parts for Hyundai and Kia. And now I guess they're trying to bring the Asian having children work into the United States here, seeing that it's an Asian company building stuff in the United States. Now, of course, there'll be all kinds of legalese coming out of it. Now, these companies that were making the parts for Hyundai and Kia in Alabama, interesting enough, here's what they both said. Obviously, lawyers are involved in this one. They both said the same exact words. To the best of our knowledge, we haven't hired any underage workers. Well, of course, that's what the lawyers are going to tell them to say. Well, to the best of my knowledge, they're not going to say, well, we didn't, because they'll be proven, obviously, that they did. But they just say, well, to the best of my knowledge, I didn't know anything about it, That's kind of like the old World War II German, I was just obeying orders. In this case, well, to the best of our knowledge, we didn't know anything about this. Well, maybe if kids are building your cars, they won't be that good. Hey, hire adults, At least start with the bare minimum. At least hire adults to start building them and not kids. Well, you ever hear the expression, throwing good money after bad? Well, the Saudis just threw another $1 billion into Lucid, the electric car and truck company. The stock just hit a new record low anyway. They're throwing good money after bad, if you ask me. The stock's down to $6.18, and it's interesting, right before their new models in Europe, right? What bad timing that was. Now, they're not alone. The same day, Rivian, Lucid, and ChargePoint, all electric car companies, all hit new record lows. Methinks people are wising up. How many people are actually going to buy electric cars? They can talk all they want about here's the future, but you ask the majority of people, and they will not buy an electric car. I ask people all the time. They said, I'm not going to buy one of these things yet. They're not proven. Who knows? There's electricity for them. I'm worried about the range. The governments can say, by 2035, 50% of the cars we sell will be electric cars. Yeah, they can say that. Look at all the crap the government says that they never actually do. What are they? They're politicians. They generally go whatever way the wind's blowing. All right, now the wind's blowing to the left. They're into all the green stuff, right? Well, the wind can change really easily, just like the real wind outside. It can do an about face, do a 180 and go in the opposite direction. And it looks like the beginning of this opposite direction is starting. Like I said many times, you can push something, but you can't force people to buy them, at least not in our supposed free market economy. There's still some free marketing. We get to pick what we want to buy, right? You can't force people to buy something if they feel that's not a safe investment. It costs too much money. I'm worried about the range. You can't force people to do it. It starts coming down to earth, and people are saying, are these people going to make money? Are people going to buy these products? When it comes down to brick and mortar, these aren't ideas. These are actual businesses. And if they can't make a product that people are willing to buy at an affordable price, guess what? They'll go out of business. Well, old Elon Musk is in the news. He's telling his workers, don't pay any attention to the stock market craziness as the value of his stock plummets and plummets and plummets, right? Well, I find that hilarious because he's told them to listen to the stock market craziness when it kept going up and up, and it was this fantasy where he was the richest man in the world, and a company like Tesla was worth more than all these other car companies combined, because let's get where the rubber hits the road. Let's face the facts. Company like Toyota, they sold 10.5 million cars. They've been making them for a long time. During that same time period, Tesla sold around 400,000 vehicles. 10.5 million versus 400,000. Yeah, they valued Tesla at the richest company, right? Bunch of nonsense. Now it's coming back to reality. People are realizing this guy's a little cracked to begin with. He promises all this stuff that never comes. How many years has he been promising his Tesla Cybertruck, right? There's none of them on the road yet. They haven't built a single one other than mock-ups, right? Now, the truth is coming down. People are realizing, hey, This company isn't worth it. What's he doing? He's dancing around telling his workers, oh, don't pay any attention. That's just an anomaly in the stock market. No, the other truth is what's true. Him being rated so high was the real anomaly. Now it's coming back down to roost. And I'll give you a perfect example of that when I was living in Houston. I had customers that worked for Enron. You remember the big Enron fiasco, right? And their CEO was telling me, it's great. They have all these meetings. I had a bunch of customers that worked for them. They said they go to these meetings. It was like a revival meeting. Yeah, we all believe in Enron. We're all going to get rich. La, 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 right? Then the stock started to go down. But the president of Enron was still having meetings with people. And he was telling them, when it got down to 99 cents a share, he said, buy more. It's a bargain now. It'll come right back up. Of course, then it went down to nothing. And the people that did listen to him lost all their money. It's just another example of people being blowed up over what they weren't actually worth. Now, in Enron's case, a lot of it was just pure fraud with Arthur Anderson, the accountants. They said they were taking in billions of dollars in oil and gas when, in effect, they were handling billions of dollars in oil and gas going through pipelines. But their percentage was like, 1/4 of 1/10 of 1% or something. So even though they had it on their books that they were taking in billions, it was only a few million that they were taking in. And they just lied about it, right? In the case of Tesla, people just jumped on the bandwagon. They kept saying, oh yeah, it's the future. Everyone's going to drive in Teslas, blah, 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 blah. No, they aren't. They cost too much. They have low quality. Now there's competition coming up. Believe it or not, electric cars in China, they cost $5,000, $5,000. Yeah, they're smaller cars, but electric cars should be small. They're not good for long distance. Short distance is fine, right? And just because he was the first one to come out big and everybody thought, oh, this is it. No, this isn't it. The big gold mines that were in California, a few guys got them, everybody else got nothing. And in this case, he's trying to tell his workers, don't worry about this. It isn't worth that much money. And that's why the price is going down. People are realizing, instead of the fantasy of electric cars, let's look at the business model. How is it doing? What kind of a profit are they making versus what they're evaluated at? That's why it's coming down. The products that he make aren't that good. They're expensive. How long can he sell them? And down goes the price of the stock. A Hyundai 2000 says, I got 03 Camry. It won't move when I put it in drive, but engages instantly when I put it in reverse. It's an 03 Camry. When it's cold, it won't go in drive, it'll go in reverse, and then it will move in drive later. Help, what's the issue? Generally, that means that you're going to have to rebuild that automatic transmission. The pump inside isn't working. Realize, just like your engine, which has an oil pump that pumps the engine oil to lubricate the engine, your automatic transmission has an oil pump that pumps the transmission fluid to build up pressure so that it can go through all the valves and shift correctly. In your case, the pump's not working right when it's cold. And the classic sign of that is you can't go forward, but you put it in reverse, it goes backwards, and you put it in drive and it goes. Perhaps it's clogged up. You might just try, it's worth a gamble. Change the filter and fluid of the transmission. Put in some Trans X, Trans-X. It's an additive. You get their anti-slip additive, and it might clean it enough that it'll work for a bit longer. But if not, your only recourse is to have the whole thing rebuilt, which costs a small fortune. On an 03 Camry, I don't know if it's worth that kind of money. Some guys, they'll gamble because they're pretty good cars. Some people gamble, they'll put in a junkyard transmission, but still, automatic transmission is expensive. And buying a used one and putting it in, it's still going to cost you $1,500, $2,000 minimum. So it's a lot of money to put in an old car that might not be worth putting it in. Dave says, I got my bus to the mechanics. I registered it. They gave me to the 15th to get it inspected. The last sticker was 2019. The mechanic said, it hasn't been driven anywhere. It needs a 200-mile drive cycle. How do I get it inspected without the 200-mile drive with an expired temporary inspection notice and a 2019 sticker? By the way, I'm in New Jersey. Unfortunately, stuck between a rock and a hard place, like catch-22, right? They got you coming, they got you going. You can't get it legally inspected until it's driven that far. But you can't drive it because it's illegal. Now, if you're getting a time machine, you should have driven it while you had the 15 days to do it, but you didn't. And now, basically, you're screwed. Even as a mechanic, I've driven people's cars like that I said, well, let me drive it around a while. And once I got pulled over by the cops, they gave me 6 tickets. Cost a lot of money, $800, because I was driving a car, and I'm the one behind the wheel, right? You're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. You might go to the Department of Motor Vehicles and say, look, I want to get this thing going, but I need to be able to drive it legally. Maybe they'll give you another extension. I don't know. But it is New Jersey, and it's a corrupt state. Maybe if you grease their palms or something, they will. I don't know. But, yeah, you're kind of between a rock and a hard place, and that is the problem with these ridiculous laws that the government makes. Honestly, trying to get your car inspected so you can drive it, but you can't because it's illegal to drive, but you can't drive it. And unfortunately, you can't even do something like jack up at the back and then run it 200 miles up in the air because the computers will know you're not going down the road and you got to go various speeds, slow down, speed up. You can't do that. Good luck on that one. Maybe move to Tennessee here and then forget the whole deal. You don't have to worry about it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.